Imperium Ascendant, written by JFiction19, read by Chief Librarian Kaifax. We all know the tale. The Emperor of Mankind creates 20 Primarchs to lead his legions to conquer the galaxy. 9 fall to Chaos's taint and let the galaxy burn. But what if this was not the case? What if the ruinous powers never got their claws into the Emperor's sons? What if the Imperium ascended instead of falling into darkness and suffering? This is the story of that possibility. Chapter 1. Paradox Undone. Date 750 Millennium 30. Location: a hidden vault within Luna. Luna was where mankind first touched the cosmos, the first mark they left when they ascended from their cradle to explore the stars. It was only fitting it would be where, in shadows of the old night, the newly crowned Emperor of Mankind started an impossible project within Luna. Using his own genius and the resources of newly conquered Terra and Luna, he sought to create beings that would guide mankind along the shining path. The results of this great endeavor were 20 artificial wombs, each containing a fetal transhuman greater than anything ever created. Born from millennia of scientific discovery, warp craft stolen from the Imperium and the very blood of the Anathema, these Primarchs were built to be the heroes of a new age. An age of Imperium where humanity was ascendant and no longer feared the darkness. A noble ambition, but other forces stood in opposition to a newly crowned master of mankind. The Primordial Annihilator sought to claim these infant Primarchs, to warp them from paragons of mankind to tools of doom and darkness. Reality shimmered as space-time was distorted by a warp rift. The ruinous powers had gambled everything on this, an Imperium-born paradox that would seal both the fate of the galaxy and the Anathema's fate. Using sons of the 17th Legion and their insanity of warp currents, they planned to pluck the 20 Primarchs from safety and twist them however they pleased. Argel Tal and his brothers of the Serrated Sun chapter exited the rift. Stunned and disjointed by the flickering visions and movements through reality, Argel Tal attempted to identify his surroundings to no avail. The oily voice of Ingethel the Ascended poured into his mind. Secrets and lies were pumped into him like a serpent's venom. Like the puppets they were, the word-bearers moved forward with a stiff, halting gait, not known to Astartes. With their faith in the Emperor shattered fully, and the primordial truth laid bare, Tal knew what must be done. Moving slowly past the glass wombs, he pulled forth his blade and advanced on the Geller field generator at the center of the chamber. The true gods would save the Primarchs from the false Emperor, and his father would be vindicated. In his stupor, he lifted the blade and prepared to destroy the only defense the infant demigods had from the predators of the warp. Right as his blade began its downward arc, the warp stirred again. Ingethel let out a screech when she felt the power and its source. At the other end of the chamber, from the Serrated Sun's portal, another gash in the Materium opened up. Not a gash that whipped corruption and chaos like the first. This one burnt with holy fire. Ingethel began to quake, her demonic form weakening under the pressure coming from the rift. "Anathema! The Anathema has come!" The newly born demon prince wailed in horror and fear as the aura of the being her kind feared above all burst forth from the portal. The word-bearers sensed it too, and as one their hackles raised at the false Emperor's presence. The pain and humiliation of Monarchia was a fresh wound in their transhuman memories. Yet even the word-bearers who have been witness to the Emperor's wrath were shocked by the energy leaking from the rift. While the power unleashed on Monarchia had been far more brutal and unrestrained than the usual psychic aura the Emperor gave off, this was far worse. It was a nova of sheer psychic dominion. Unfettered by mortal constraints, it bathed the chamber in a white light that seared the minds and souls of the heretic Astartes. Ingethel buckled under the scalding light, and her form was hurled screeching back into the warp. With their portal collapsing and their guide gone, the word-bearers were lost and confused. Their pilgrimage of enlightenment had turned into a trap. The worst for them had yet to come, though. For this warp rift was not meant to banish Ingethel or to protect the infant Primarchs from chaotic taint, but to transport a chosen few through time and space to avenge themselves and save the Imperium. The Legion of the Damned had come to change destiny. Bolter fire erupted through the laboratory as the Damned opened fire on the word-bearers. Diving for cover, the traitor Astartes were pinned down by constant volleys of burning ammunition. A number of them had been too late to react to the sudden appearance of ghostly burning Astartes, and were now reduced to hunks of burning meat and bubbling blood. Recovering first, Tal ordered his battle brothers to open fire on the phantoms while avoiding the infant Primarchs. Bolt shells whizzed past the gestation capsules as the firefight continued. Alarms and klaxons began to wail, adding to the frantic chaos. Slowly but surely, the Legion of the Damned moved closer and closer to the embattled heretics. Peering from behind his cover, Argel Tal noticed the number on one of the gestation capsules one of the Damned hid behind. 13. Struck by grim inspiration, he fired his bolt pistol at the womb of what would be Gilliman, attempting to kill two birds with one infernal shell. Moving faster than what was thought possible for an Astartes, one of the legionnaires threw himself in front of the shield. It punctured the ghostly Astartes armor, and he flickered out of materium like a candle snuffed out by the wind. Tal's transhuman eyes noticed something particular about this martyred enemy. His armor may be burnt and blackened, but the inverted Omega on his pauldron was still barely visible. Sons of Gilliman always willing to follow the arrogant father, he thought to himself before barking orders to his sons. Target the capsules marked 1, 6, 7, 9, 13, 18, and 19, he barked. Tal knew his purpose here was to allow the gods to claim the Primarchs, but if he could not do that, then at least he would cripple the false emperor and eliminate threats to his father and his legion before they even existed. Or at the very least, allow these phantoms to martyr themselves, saving what might be their future gene fathers. Argel Tal's hypothesis was correct. Legionnaire after legionnaire stood in front of incoming fire to protect the infant Primarchs. Yet, even with these casualties, these blackened, flamed and sorcereled saviors still advanced on the word-bearers, butchering the heretics with bolt fire, and even their blades if they got close enough to a straggling one. What had been a slaughter became a pitched battle between the rows of gestation capsules. After 10 minutes that seemed to last 10 hours, only a handful of damned legionnaires along with Tal and his 3 remaining serrated sons remained. Word-bearer corpses and bolter shells littered the room, while the chamber doors quaked with the attempts of outside Imperial forces attempting to breach the sealed laboratory. Cursing in Colchissian, Tal barked orders to his remaining battle brothers. They were running out of time. Even if they won this battle, the false Emperor's slaves would kill them instead. Ordering his brothers to retreat, they charged towards the Gellerfield generator, hoping to salvage their original objective. One heretic stayed behind to provide covering fire. He screamed maddened Colchissian prayers as flaming bolter rounds tore him to pieces. The remaining 3 charged towards the generator as the Legion of the Damned pursued. A volley of flaming ammunition ripped apart another word-bearer, but they were so close. Mere meters away from salvation and humanity's eyes being opened to the primordial truth. His hope would not come to pass, however, for while the firefight raged, one last being exited the Legion of the Damned's portal. He now stood in between the last 2 heretics and the generator, towering over both Astartes, with armor as burnt and blackened as the others. It was still unmistakably a Custodes. With a single slash of his burning guardian spear, Tal's remaining brother was dead as he stood, alone against a black and burning ghost of the Emperor's foremost warriors. For a split second, Argel Tal and the Custodes stared at each other. Tears of molten metal trickled from the Custodes' visor as recognition dawned upon the serrated son's captain. Aquilon? He wondered, fear and trepidation creeping into his voice. As soon as those fateful words of recognition left his mouth, the guardian spear of the vengeful Custodes parted his head from his body.